Okay, and where was your PowerPoint at?
Where was it?
Yes.
Back down there.
Okay, and then. Okay, and then just. Pull it up.
Okay, so
You don't need anything else, right? Just
nope, I'm gonna do this right here. Perfect.
Perfect.
Tell me your first name.
Joe.
Joe, right. I'm Larry, Joe.
Yeah, Larry, I follow you on social media and like all your stuff. I actually tried to, I asked you for permission that.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't have any luck, but I wanted to try. I'm new, so I'm trying everything. I'll sort of know.
Hi, Gwen.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Larry.
Yes.
Yes. Jess.
Yes.
Yep. Hello, Rich.
How you doing?
Good, you gonna join us?
Very responsible for interpreting the contracts in the sales organization. Making sure
Ready to
everything
get started.
building stuff. Any questions on the plans, if anything was to kind of pop up on that's in there also
Okay.
that's installed with agreement, I should say, it's called e-automate.
Hello.
Um,
We'll get started. People join us. Very informal, very casual. I put together a few slides, but ultimately,
something that's similar to
a
that.
few years back, I was introduced to
And
two
then
worksheets.
help with
A worksheet that talks about buying a property to hold it, whether it makes sense to hold it. And then I have another worksheet that talks to buying a property to flip. So I thought really we'll focus on those worksheets because that will really tell you whether or not it may be a good investment or not. But I just put a few slides together for you that I thought would be apropos. So the first one is this.
What is SHI?
So would you rather have $1 million today?
Okay.
Hi, Esty. Or a penny doubled each and every day? So at the end of the first day, you have a penny. Tomorrow, you'll have 2 pennies. At the end of the week, you'll have 64 cents. And whatever the total is in 4 weeks,
So
like 3 more weeks, you can like that amount of money or $1 million today.
Okay. You guys go ahead. Just remember, anything like that.
Start with a penny. You'll take the $1 million today, or
I'll take both.
you'll take both. Yeah. It says or, not and or. What do you think? So after 7 days, after a week, you have 64 cents. You still got another 3 weeks to go.
What was the question?
Question is, would you take $1 million today or a penny doubled each day for a month? So today you have a penny, tomorrow you have 2 pennies, the end of the week you have 64 cents, you then have 3 more weeks to go. Yeah,
Penny each day for how long?
31 days,
Oh,
a month. So the penny would be doubled, right? It's not a 1, 2, 3,
I'll
4.
take the $1 million.
You'll take the $1 million. So if I were to tell you, you were leaving $9 million on the table.
Yep.
So here's what it looks like. You start with a penny, and at the end of 10 days, or at the end of the week, you have 64 cents. At the end of 10 days, you have $5.12. You got 20 more days to go.
I did the math.
At the end of 20 days, you have $5,200, a far cry from $1 million. You have $5,200 on day 20. Anyway, on day 30, on day 26 is the way, you have 335,000. On day 30, you have 5.3 million, and on the 31st day, you have $10.5 million. And you start with a penny. Is that crazy?
To do that instead of investing.
So that is investing, right? It's the power of what? Yeah, compounding.
Yep. Compound interest.
Yep. Now this is exaggerated. You don't make 100% on your money every day, but this is what it looks like. So with that said, we happen to be in a very good business. Wouldn't you say? There are currently 333 million people in the United States. And the good news for us is what?
Yeah, so there's a little-
Everybody needs a place to live. All 333 million. Some might be homeless, God forbid, but for the most part, they all need a place to live. So every 9 seconds, somebody's born. Every 11 seconds, somebody dies. Hey, Ryan. Every 126 seconds, so it's about 2 minutes, there's a migrant coming into the country. So there's a net gain of 1 person every 41 seconds in the United States. That's a recent stat as well. That's a recent stat. So every 41 seconds, the population of America grows by 1. Let alone the people that are moving in and around the country, right? So here's, if the trends continue, the study goes on to say that by the year 2050, which sounds like a what? A long way off, is in how many years? Like 30 years, 28 years, yeah, 28 years. They're estimating 438 million people in the United States. So we're going from today, 333 million, to almost like 30% more.
The way things are going,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, that's what, right? I mean, it says every 41 seconds, it grows by a person. So if
It's
you do,
not come from the birthing population either.
some of it is, there's a birth every 9 seconds. Yeah,
But they say it's down.
yeah.
Considerably.
There's a death every 11 seconds. So just between birth and death, there's a net gain. Very small, but there's a net gain.
Did that take count into effect COVID?
So this is recent. This is like almost,
2020, I saw, February 2020.
oh, so probably not.
Yeah.
But I don't think the death rates are up all that much.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What happened over the
Yeah,
last-
no. So this is probably 2 years ago
Right.
is the most recent statistics. So this isn't like as of today. So 438 million, and we mentioned that the good news for us in our industry is everyone needs a place to live. So we're in the right place at the right time. And then you go to look at the cycles in real estate. Have you heard of the 17-year real estate cycle? So what does that mean? Every 17 years, what happens?
Somebody moves.
No.
No, it was up.
There's like a,
Market changes.
Yeah. So every 17 years, or there's a top of the real estate market. 8.5 years later, there's a bottom, there's a top, there's a bottom, right? So if you look at history, here's what it looks like. The last peak was 2005. And before that, 86. After 86, you kind of went down. After 05, it went down. So where are we now? Right. Yeah. So we peaked according to the 17-year cycle. Now that may be a few months or maybe a year off, but in 8 years from now, we should be where? On the bottom, back on the way up. But it's amazing how accurate that grid is. I mean, if for those of you that were in the market in 05, you can remember the last run up. Wasn't quite what we've seen recently, but it was very close. I remember back in 05, when we were showing properties, we said exactly what we said this go round. We'll be taking all offers on Monday at 5 p.m. The same dialogue in 05 as we did in 2021, 22.
Were they cash offers in 05?
No, so that was the difference.
Right, I was gonna say 2022 was all cash
Yeah.
offers. 2022
was cash and substantial down payments.
Right.
Like the
Way
first
over.
time home buyer in 2021, 2020, couldn't buy a house. There was too much competition. So there's a few reasons, we're going to get into the investment side of it, but there are a few reasons or a few things the government does in terms of tax incentives. So what are they?
writing off your interest, writing off your property
Mortgage
taxes,
interest.
and the capital gains,
Yeah,
buying your home every 2 out of the last 5 years.
yeah. So Rich says you write off all the interest on the mortgage. Yes. You write off the property taxes. But the good news, I mean, that's all good news. That may not be around forever, but right now it's there. But the good news is what you said at the end of that, which is, yeah, there isn't any other investment where you can make a profit and not pay income tax or capital gains tax. Not another investment except real estate. It does have to be your primary residence. But who's been doing this a long time? Like when I say a long time, more than 20 years. 20 years. So they made a major change in this 20 years ago, 20 years ago. So today, just to reiterate what Rich said, today, if you're single, the first $250,000 of what we call profit, what you buy the home for versus what you sell the home for, if it's $250,000 or less of profit, there is no tax paid on the first 250. If you're married, it's 500,000, which is like crazy. You also can do it how often? Every 2 years. So you can buy a home.
Every 2 years.
What's that?
You have to move every 2 years.
You do have to move every 2 years. But here's what you're going to see. And then so you can do it every 2 years. And how old do you have to be? any age. So back in '05, just prior to the government had a different policy. This is much more attractive than it used to be. If you can remember back when you were younger, it used to be how much? Used to be $125,000. How old did you have to be?
55.
Yeah. You had to be 55 to take advantage of the break. How many times could you do it? It was once in a lifetime. Anytime after you were 55, if you were to sell your primary residence, you can take $125,000 tax free. Today, it's $250 if you're single, $500 if you're married. You could be any age, and you can do it every 2 years. So what we saw, honestly, what we saw were people were selling their primary residence, taking up to $500,000 tax-free, and moving into their beach house.
Mhm.
While prices were doing what? And they lived in their beach house for how long? And sold that home and took the first $500,000 of profit tax-free. And where'd they move? Into their ski chalet. And lived there for how long? Sold that home while prices were, took the first 500,000. So you could literally do $1.5 million in a relatively short period of time and not pay any capital gain tax. So that's part of the reason I think the real estate market took off. So anybody read Rich Dad Poor Dad? It's like old book, but it's a great, easy, short read for what we're kind of talking about today. If you haven't read it, you got to read it. It's like 100 pages.
Old book that never gets old.
It's an old book, never gets old. It's like the other book, Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
What is it?
I read that one.
Think and Grow Rich. This is a much easier
I'm
read.
intimidated by money and finance.
This is an easy read.
I'm gonna order it right now.
Yeah, it's a very easy read, and it's Rich Dad Poor Dad. I haven't read it in years, so I'm going to just go for his rich dad is his best friend's dad. He calls him his rich dad. His poor dad is his dad, and his dad is a high school principal, so they do pretty well. But compare the way his dad, as a high school principal who made a good living, thought about money or wealth or invested in investments was much different than his rich dad, who was his best friend's dad. And they lived in Hawaii. It's a good read. I remember it stays with me all the time. So his dad, who was a high school principal, smart guy, conservative, and he said, you should never buy a Porsche, because his son wanted a Porsche. It's a waste of money, and you shouldn't buy a Porsche and spend that kind of money. The rich dad says, take the money, the cost of the Porsche, and buy an investment piece of real estate that has a $200, $300, $400 a month positive cash flow, and take that $200, $300 a month positive cash flow and do what? Go buy the Porsche. Not lease it, but go buy the Porsche. Hey, Lee.
Hi.
So it's just right two different ways of thinking. You can take the $40,000 or $50,000 and go buy the Porsche or whatever it is, or you can take that money, buy a rental property, and then take the cash flow from the rental property and buy your Porsche. Oh, hi, Ed. I know. You guys saw her walk in. So two other great books Gary Keller wrote is The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, which Adam has. You can certainly borrow it from Adam. It may even be out here on the shelf. And Flip, How to Fund, Fix, and Sell Houses for Profit. So there was a study done, right? And it says anyone can do it. Not everyone will you? Based on extensive research and interviews with more than 120 millionaire real estate investors, Gary Keller's how-to guide reveals models, strategies, and truths. So what it basically says is that it goes into everybody and anybody can do it. Most people will never, what? Act on it. So this, you ever play Hangman? Right? So what does anybody have a vowel? It says the use of a small initial investment, credit, or borrowed funds to gain a high rate of return. What is that called?
Leverage.
Come on. Oh, this is Wheel of, what is this? This is, yeah. Yep. Leverage. Here's what leverage looks like. It's just a little grid. So you purchase a property for $250,000 and you put 20% down or $50,000. Yes? In the old days, we saw appreciation at about 0.5% less, maybe less than, 4 to 5% a year. In the last 24 months, what was the appreciation rate in our area? Almost 1% a month, or more than 1% a month. But conservatively, you figure 4 to 5% a year. Yeah, it's nuts. I actually have the next grid will show that, but this is typical. This is kind of like a normal, balanced market. So you buy a piece of property for $250,000, you put your 20% down or your $50,000, and in 1 year with appreciation, the property is worth what? $261. So the gain is $11,250. So the return on the price, right? The purchase price, it only went up 4.5%. However, the return on your investment, which was what? 50,000, is 22% in 1 year. So you return 22% on your investment. So here's the math, right? You had a gain of 11,250. You divide it by what you put in. So you had a 22.5% return on your 50,000. So that's leverage. Now here's Rich says the appreciation rate was what?
I thought it was like 20 something, but now Justin said something like 40 something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But recently, prices have gone up. So now you might be paying $350 for the property. You got to put down 20% or 70,000. But now we're seeing at least 1% a month for the last 24 months. So now your gain is what? $42,000 on a $70,000 investment. And so that number should be 12%. But anyway, your return on investment, you put up 70 and you get your 70 and you get 42 back at the end of the year. Your 70 is still there in the property. You have a 60% return. It almost sounds like that penny a day, doesn't it? So according to the Gary Keller survey, right, real estate is accessible. Anyone can buy it. It's appreciable. It goes up in value over time. You know, there might be some ups and downs, but over time. And I think you're going to see real estate really take off again in a few years because of inflation, right? The cost of labor is going up or down. Yeah. The cost of materials are going up or down. Yeah. are the townships, is it easier to get building permits in townships or is it harder to get building permits in townships? Yeah. So everything's going up. In turn, the price of real estate will continue to go up. Leverage. We talked about cash flow. It's rentable. You can improve it. You do get the write-offs. For the most part, it's a stable investment. You can actually go and touch it. It's tangible. And you can live in it. So before we get into the worksheets, I just want to go through a few terms. So amortization, everybody know what amortization is? Yep, yes. It's paying off debt over time, right? You're amortizing your debt. So for an example, you have a rental, the tenant pays you rent, you take the rent and you make your mortgage payment. So in turn, the tenant is paying off your mortgage. Depreciation. It's just a taxable write-off where they depreciate the value of the real estate over time. And then the benefit of appreciation, which is the rise in value. So again, we're going to get into these worksheets, but some definitions. So net operating income, everybody would know what NOI, net operating income is. Basically, it's what's coming in. It's your rent. It's your gross annual income, your rent, and then you have to take your expenses off. So what your typical expenses are: your property taxes, your management fees, insurance, utilities, all your real estate related expenses. You need to know what your vacancy rate is. So this example is, let's say you have 4 units. There are 48 available months of rent. Yes, 4 units times 12 months, 48 available months of rent. If 3 of the units were vacant for 1 month, your vacancy rate would be 6.25%. 3 months are vacant out of the 48 available months. Questions on vacancy rate? So there's 3 ways to analyze multifamily properties. The first is gross rent multiplier. I never seen it used around here. Cash on cash return is kind of how I do it on small property. And then a cap rate analysis. So the first one, gross rent multiplier, is really just a ratio. And I'll try and explain how it works. So if the sales price of a property is $300,000 and the monthly rent, the gross monthly rent is $3,000, your gross rent multiplier would be 100. Just do the math, right? 3,000 to 300,000, your monthly rent into the value of the property gives you 100. If the same property was 300,000 and your income was 2,500, less monthly income, your gross rent multiplier would be 120. All that means is the lower the gross, if you're comparing 2 properties, the lower the gross rent multiplier, the better the deal. So if property 1 was $300,000 sales price and your monthly gross rent was 3,000, your gross rent multiplier is 100. Property 2, property B, same $300,000 asking price, but now your rent is lower, your multiplier is 120. So the first property would be more attractive just based on this formula. Don't really use that around here or for small investment property. This is really the way to evaluate in terms of cash on cash return. I know for me, not really looking to have a negative cash flow, meaning the rents, the income that comes in has to cover the expense load. So if the monthly rent is $3,000 a month, the annual rent is $36,000. You want to make sure that the rent covers the monthly expenses. So before your tax cash flow, your $36,000, and it's going to, when we look at it on paper, it's going to be easier to understand. Your cash on cash return is 24%. This is the 36,000 into the 150 value of the property. So your return is 24%, which is positive. And then have you heard about like a cap rate? Anybody hear about a cap rate? Right? It's so the way they value investment property.
A lot of commercial does.
A lot of commercial does it. So the lower the cap rate, the higher the value of the property. I think I said that right.
Now you want a higher cap rate.
Yeah, the higher the cap rate, the more cash flow. The lower the cap rate, the higher the property, right? Here, let's do the example. Net operating income. So if it's 36,000 on the bottom and the asking price is 400,000, the cap rate is 36 into 400. So your cap rate is 9%. Yes. If it was an 8% cap rate with a $36,000 income, your sales price would be 450. So the lower the cap rate, the higher the sales price.
Gosh, use that to figure out what you should pay on property.
Yeah, the problem with cap rate, first of all, we don't use it that often. We're not in the commercial industry. And I do know it varies from market to market and from product to product. So like an industrial product is different than a commercial product or a warehouse. So your cap rates, you really need to know the industry that you're investing in. Yeah. But it's just a way to compare one property to another property. So with that said, I had same example, two different ways to look at it. A buy and a hold and a buy and a flip. So what would you like to do first? Flip it? All right. So this is a real life example, so I can answer any questions you have. This is in an Excel spreadsheet, so I can email you if you want a copy to plug it in. But what happens is if you can see that what's highlighted in yellow, that's what I fill in. The rest of the sheet is auto calculated for me. So here's what if we look at the top and we're looking at a prospective investment property. We need to do a market analysis and figure out what we think we can sell the home for after the renovation. So in this case, in the property, this is actually a home on Hidden Valley Lane. I believe the home is valued at $425 after renovation, based on my market analysis. We agreed at a purchase price of $254,000. it was going to take me 4 months from start to finish, including time to sell. I got to pay a real estate commission on the way out. So I plugged in 2.5%. I wasn't, that 425, I was going to ask more. So that 425 was a pretty good number. I wasn't discounting it. The money's to buy it, 254. I was looking for 5% on my money, just to put in a number. I have a 1% transfer tax on the way in, and I have a 1% transfer tax on the way out. The cost of my renovation was $85,000. Kitchen, bathrooms, flooring, painting, some landscaping, a new roof. $85,000. The property taxes for the year are $4,648. The insurance for the year, keep in mind I'm only using it for 4 months, $1,419. The annual HOA fees, because there's an HOA, $560. We had to cover the utilities and cut the grass. The title insurance for the purchase of $254,000 was $1,900. I just plugged in 500 miscellaneous. And if you do the math, which is below, right? So you keep going down. Now the calculation is done for me. So let's go through it. You see where it says calculations? 425 is the sales price. 254 was the price I paid to get in. We paid $6,700 in transfer taxes, 1% on the way in, 1% on the way out. We had to pay $10,625 in real estate commission. We got $5,600 on the interest on the 254 that we put up. $85,000 to repair the home. $1,549 was the pro rata share of property taxes for the 4 months. $473 for the insurance, because whatever you don't use, you get back. $560 for legal expenses. It's really the HOA. $300 a month, $300 total for utilities, $1,900 for title insurance, $500 miscellaneous. Anyway, the profit on this flip was $57,645. During the 4 months we held it, it cost $1,400 in interest, $387 in taxes, $118 in property insurance, $75 in utilities. So it cost me just shy of $2,000 a month to carry the home for the 4 months from start to finish. So you could use this worksheet for any property you're looking to buy.
I mean, the months will
and
change,
flip.
obviously, if you don't. split it with
Yeah,
the-
this is the scenario that I
Right.
based, yeah,
Average.
right. If it took you 5 months or 6 months, it would eat into that profit. If I wasn't accurate on what I thought I could sell it for, yeah, so you want to be conservative on that side.
That's a good one.
Any questions on this? Yeah. So that's a buy and flip. And you could use this worksheet on any of them. The challenge, I think, early on is going to get a handle on what it's going to cost you in repairs. Right?
Time to repair it now.
And time to repair. I mean, you can meet with your contractor and they can give you a timeline, but the cost of repairs, I think, will take you a little time to figure out.
And the cost of material.
And the cost of materials have gone up quite a bit.
Delivery of material.
Yeah. All that, right? Yep. So the next worksheet is renting, buy it and then hold it. So this will evaluate whether or not it's a good property to buy and hold. So your monthly rent, everything in yellow again is what I fill in. So if you go down the right side first, no vacancy. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, or I'm sorry, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, garage, basement, fireplace in Newtown. Well, there's no vacancy, right? It rents right away. I did put away 5% for repair costs should something come up. However, in this home, we put in 85,000 to renovate. It doesn't need anything. It won't need anything for quite some time. Again, the purchase price, same piece of real estate. Purchase price was 254. We put up 100%. We took the 85,000 to renovate. There were $9,100 in settlement costs. I'm going down the right side, right? The right side. So it costs $348 to get in after renovation. There's no mortgage. There's no interest. The monthly cash flow is $2,219. Annual cash flow is $31,000 based on the $3,000 a month in rent, less the expenses. So my return on investment is 9%. So I'm getting 9% on my money.
So you held it.
So we held this one. Yeah. And what else are we banking on? So that's the, yeah, right? So right now we have a value of 425 on it. You know, next year, if it goes up 4%, it will be 435, 440. And then down the left side is the actual worksheet, what your monthly rent is, your expense load. And then on the very bottom, you're allowed to depreciate it for tax purposes. So we get a tax deduction of $4,400 every year for 27 and a half years.
How do you find those properties? The more important part.
Yeah, so that's that's the key. I think it's going to get easier. What's that?
I said buying it for the right price.
Yeah. Well, you know the expression, right? The adage, you make your profit when you buy it, not when you sell it. So you have to buy it right.
Right price.
Yeah. So these are the two worksheets I would recommend using, whether you buy it and flip it, because we could have done it and made $57,000 profit, or buy it and hold it, yeah, and get a return on your investment.
Use wholesalers?
No,
No.
I haven't.
Okay.
So this one was a cold call. We were looking for houses to list,
Mhm.
and the homeowner said, I'm interested in selling. We're moving to Florida. Can you come over? We went over, and the house was a real lot of different.
It was awful.
Awful. So Lisa and I went on the appointment together. It was almost like a hoarder, wasn't it?
Almost.
Uh,
It was.
It was.
That's the best houses. Those are the best investments.
So she says to us, do you know an investor that would be interested in my home? I don't want my neighbors in. I don't want you to show it. I just want to sell it to an investor.
Mhm.
And we explained that you get more money if you put it on the market. I'm embarrassed. I don't want anybody in my home. Pretty much what she said.
Right.
I'm going to Florida. So we made her an offer, and she said, no way. Okay. We said, okay. And we got a call back maybe a week or two later and says, I'll do it. And we bought it for $254.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Larry, when you're in that moment,
But he would have seen it.
Was that Lisa?
Say
If
that
you would have
again?
seen it before, I mean, it was in
Oh,
really
yeah. But
disrepair.
the,
He
yeah.
gutted the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's easier. Boring.
Yeah.
when you're.
Oh, he's got some before and after pictures.
I don't have before, but I have after. Here it is. So this is the house.
So it's a attached?
It's, yeah, it's Newtown Crossing.
Oh, okay, sure.
Let me see.
So
if I-
you're in the moment, you're trying to get the listing,
Yeah,
and you're making a deal, hopefully, you walk away. How do you do that?
yeah. So I wanted the listing more than I wanted to purchase it initially. I went in to get the listing.
Mhm.
And then when she said, do you know any investors, I kind of switched gears a little bit. And we explained, you can probably get more money on the open market than an investor
Mhm.
is willing to pay. And she said, I'm okay with that. I said, I'm okay with that. I have a number in mind. And I said, we would be interested in buying it from you. And our number and her number didn't match initially. And I was, there was some concern that I might lose the listing because we became the buyer. But it worked out. She said, no, I got to talk to my ex-husband, the whole thing. And then a couple of weeks later, she came back around and said she would do it.
That's always been my angst.
Yeah.
When you're in that moment, who are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't, how do you?
It's just exactly how it played out. I went in as a listing agent
Yeah.
and she switched it up.
And you're hoping that,
I was a little concerned that if I wasn't the right match for the buyer, I would lose the listing. Yeah. There was some concern there because it was a great listing.
and you came in and closed
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, we were on the appointment
Yeah,
together.
but it wasn't just one meeting with her. I mean, I think our intention after talking to her initially was we should put it on the market, but then as we got to get to know her better and we made it easy for her, very easy, and she, was willing to walk away. She just didn't want to deal with any of it. I mean, including whatever hoarding stuff she had, like Larry left out, that was all left behind.
Yeah, to clear that out.
He had, yeah,
That's usually the case.
yeah,
I,
Did you roll the sleeves up?
No.
I find probably the most important element in all of this is one's patience from our standpoint,
Yeah.
because this can get you anxious.
Well, we bought Starflower.
Yeah.
So, and the market's has been on our side, right? So Ed had a listing in Langhorne,
Mhm.
Flowers Mill,
Flowers Mills.
and it was on the market for a little while. We put in a low offer and Ed said, no way. And then at some point you came back.
And the family got tired. It was an estate. So it had some element to it that they didn't want to hang out forever. But with an estate, you always have varying personalities, kids, siblings, and that was happening. So with time, they all came to, some kind of decision. Let's go back and try to make that other deal work. That's a great deal. Yes, jeez.
they don't come, they're hard to find.
They're hard to find.
But-
to your
but
point.
think
I
about
sometimes
that.
have those
That's a
estate
good
listings
deal.
with my husband,
Yeah.
but it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
have to
And
sell
even
it
it was,
As
yeah.
a realtor, because I'm like, we can buy it.
Right.
And he's like, no, we can't.
Yeah. Because of
You know,
his
Because he's
conflict.
representing
Yeah.
the estate. And,
We'll give
sometimes I
you-
will reach out to some.
We'll give you a
investors.
finder's fee.
But
And that was a home run, Ed's in Starflower, because simultaneously, Debbie in the office had a home fire.
Oh, yeah.
And she needed a place to live.
Yeah.
So he had just enough time to go in and maybe like clean it up a little bit, paint it and put some, and since it was a house fire, the insurance company was paying for her rent. So I think we got like 5,000 a month.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So-
So $60,000 in a year for rent, which really paid for a chunk of the purchase
Yeah,
price.
you don't need all these charts at that point.
Right.
Just smile. But it continues to be. I mean, and it's the patience. I think you gotta be, as much as you get anxious about making these deals happen. My shortcoming's always been
What Esty just said, the conflict, whether you're the realtor or the buyer. Yeah, I can definitely see that. That was really one of the only ones we bought where we were in on it. I mean, a lot of them are real estate agents bringing them to us. But that happened to be one that we were on that just kind of got lucky. Said, we don't want to show it. We want an investor to buy it.
So let's see the inside.
Oh. So outside, all new vinyl siding, new shutters, new roof, new skylights.
How accurate were you with the 85,000?
Right on.
Are you on? Nice.
And you flip this or keep it?
It's rented right now. New AC.
That's the way to move for 2023.
New patio. We fenced in, new fence. Vinyl flooring. We took the wall down in the kitchen. We opened the kitchen up. So there's got a little kitchen there, but we opened up that wall. Brand new kitchen, granite counters, stainless steel appliances. We put in all the hi-hats, carpeted upstairs. I don't know what happened to the pictures. And then the bedrooms are just 3 small bedrooms. There they are, bedroom. Nice big laundry room. Bathroom. Yeah, that was cute. 3,000,
It's a no-brainer.
How many beds?
3 bedroom.
Sell my house. Leave it at 10.
Yeah. So what we did here was we made a half bath into a full bath. This is the main bath. This was the main bath. We just retiled it. And then this down here. Whoop. Where am I? Yeah, this down here, this bath, we opened it up. That was a closet. We made it into a shower.
So Larry, in terms of your contractor, is it the same pretty much always, or how you do this?
Yeah, I'm looking at Lisa because she wants me to change contractors. So it's a guy I've been doing it with. He's licensed and insured. He does everything, most everything. And
Well, it's Larry and him. I mean, they work together as a team. Larry really, when he says he took down this wall and put this in, that's Larry telling him this is what we need to do. You know?
yeah, but I don't do any of the work.
You know, he
But
doesn't do the
he-
work, he
yeah.
designed it. So he's very, very handy and he's.
Just takes him a little longer than most,
Yeah.
like any
That's
other
the
contractor.
key,
Is this
having the
price
right
good?
contractor
Yeah.
that's, can do the electric,
Yeah.
the, you know, plumbing.
So if we had to put a new electrical service in, I would bring an electrician in.
Oh,
But if we change all the outlets and the switches, he does all that.
Put in a new toilet, he could do.
He does that, yeah.
He's very handy.
Yeah.
So that's the key.
But if it's major, like if it's a new electrical service,
Right.
I have an electrician that will come in and do that.
Is prices good for you?
Yeah, so he only works for us. So we pay him, yeah, he's on our payroll.
But a 2-month job will take 4 months.
Yeah.
If you want it, so you kind of have to allocate, you have to know, he's gonna call out or not show up, you know, every Thursday.
He's on payroll, so he can call out.
I get it. If you go and hire another contractor, that, yes, it's gonna be shorter, but you're gonna pay more money
That's
for
what
it, so
Larry
it's all
told me.
relative.
Yeah, that's what Larry told me.
You know what you're getting here. I would keep writing that up.
We tried it, you know, we tried another contractor at some point, we got beat up.
My daughter.
You could take some of that, like what we used to do, we had 2 guys on payroll. We used to do that and we would sub some of the work out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, electrical or plumbing or whatever.
right. Put 2 guys on the job and have one guy upstairs, one guy down, make it quicker. But we've tried, I've gotten burned a few times.
Like Julie's doing it down in Tennessee, and it's her first year. It's crazy involved with it all, but you have to stay under contractor.
You gotta send the contractor.
That's a big deal for her. And she has a nice crew and it's all working well. You just hope somebody doesn't get sick or run away, you know?
Right.
But
Yeah, you got, and you know, they want the money up front and you don't want to give them any money until the job's done. So you gotta find that.
hard money.
Yeah.
Have you ventured that way? No.
No, we looked into it. There's just so many costs. Like
Upfront bonus.
upfront carrying costs. It's just, it probably takes away, you know, we're making 35, 40, 45,000 a profit on each one. Not much, really not much more than that. This one was a good one, 50. So you know, your hard money costs are probably $10,000, $12,000. So it takes like a third of your profit away. But if you have to start that way, you start that way. Yep. So
Thank you.
we'll pay a finder's fee. Lisa and I will pay a finder's fee if you have one, Esty, that is a
I have a
conflict.
great home office in-law suite or an investment property for sale
Okay.
that they're very eager to sell. Schoolhouse Lane and Street Road in Warminster. But it's, you know, pricier than that. It's
Yeah, charges.
649.9, but negotiable.
And what's it worth when it's all done?
So it's perfect. You can.
Oh, it's all done.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just I'm having a hard time selling this.
I can, if you want to shoot me an email, I'll email you the worksheets. It's 2 Excel spreadsheets.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, then you plug in the numbers and it just kind of tells you the story.
This is great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Simplified.
I don't know, but
Question for you. How do you hold title on the ones that you keep for yourself?
yeah, so a lot of them, this is great to know, by the way. So a lot of them we own in our IRA. So we have money in an IRA. It's called a self-directed IRA. So it's held in an LLC. And because it's in an IRA, you have to have an intermediary or an escrow, an agent. So we use a company in Bluebell called CAMA, C-A-M-A, and that's what they do. So most people think you have to buy stocks and bonds in your IRA, when in fact you can invest in anything in your IRA. So this company allows you to invest in anything: art, gold and silver, commodities. We happen to invest in real estate. And the trick is, like this property, for example, is held that way. So the $3,000 a month income, yeah, you cannot, you can't commingle your monies. So you have to do a really good job being separate. So the tenant makes their rent payment to my IRA.
Like a direct deposit right to the IRA.
Yeah, they send a
Going
check.
through this process, you're making your deposits, everything's coming out of a check from that
Yeah.
IRA account. Okay.
Yeah. So if I put a new roof on the building, the IRA's got to buy the new roof. What's been really good is the profit, this $56,000 profit,
Nothing.
we don't pay capital gains on it.
You didn't touch on 1031 exchange,
Yeah.
but that's also another good way to.
It's a great way. And there's some good companies locally that will act as an escrow agent or Yeah, I have never done a 1031 exchange, but we've done business with people that have. It's a great way to,
Right. To avoid.
yep, paying capital gains.
So if you have any outstanding mortgage, how are you making that payment?
So it would come out of the IRA.
Still?
Yep. So the challenge is, so there's no mortgage on these, but if you could get a mortgage, the problem is it has to be a non-recourse mortgage. Because you can't sign for it personally, because it's in your IRA. So there are some lenders that will do a non-recourse loan.
Like local banks.
Local bank. We use a bank, we have used a bank out of, I want to say maybe Texas or somewhere over there. And they will lend you the money where you don't have to, you don't sign for it personally. It's called a non-recourse loan.
So you don't sign for it personally, they attach it to. the
Yeah,
IRA.
they're just lending it based on the collateral of the real estate. So it's not 100% financing or 5% down. Yeah, I think you have to do like a third down.
So you finance that, $3,000 pays that, and.
Yep.
You're not tying up all your funds.
Right. So you can buy on a mortgage, and there's not it's not a conventional mortgage.
Sure.
Not every, but local banks do it. It's fair. The self-directed IRA is, I think, is getting more and more popular. So the lenders that will finance that type of real estate are getting, there's more opportunity for that.
Okay.
But I can give you the name of the bank we've used. It's personal. I mean, they'll pick up the phone and call you and say the property taxes are due. Yeah, so it's that. That's how.
Automated.
None of it's automated. You'll get a phone call. Small bank. But that's a great resource, is that IRA. If you have clients that have, maybe they're retiring or they're leaving their corporate job and they have $1 million sitting in their 401k or more, and they don't want to leave it at that company, they can direct it to an IRA, to a self-directed IRA, rather than buy equities, which they were doing good. You can buy real estate or anything. You can buy art, you can buy commodities, anything, and your self-directed IRA. You can buy a business. So now your IRA owns a business. The income from the business goes right back into your IRA. You don't pay any taxes on it until you pull it out. But a rental property is the business, isn't it?
Sure.
So you buy a rental property, the rent goes back into your IRA and grows, and you don't even report it to the government at the end of the year.
No tax, you don't have final tax returns or anything on these?
No, you do have to report the value of your IRA at the end of the year,
Okay.
but they do not look at a P&L.
And these properties are not listed as,
On a schedule? No. The whole is, just the whole.
Yep.
No, so there's no write-offs. There's no write-offs. The money's coming out of the IRA and going into the IRA.
A lot less accounting work.
What's that?
A lot less accounting.
You get no
work.
accounting work.
Yeah. no schedule.
You're only obligated at the end of the year to provide them with a fair market value of the asset. And then that, I guess, gets reported to the government,
Yeah.
but not what goes on in the account throughout the
Right.
year.
well, that's awesome. Have you done many through there?
Yes, almost all of them.
Good.
Come to more of your classes.
You should Google CAMA in Bluebell. CAMA, CAMA Plan, it might even be CAMA Plan.
CO?
CAMA. But it will give you a good education. And they're right in Bluebell. And they are the custodian for your self-directed IRA. Yeah, thanks.
Can you do a combination with them or no?
So.
In other words, if you still want to keep stuff in mutual. funds,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you will do both.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you can't do, and you gotta just check with your accountant, I don't think you can partner with yourself. Meaning, if you're buying an investment property,
Uh-huh.
half of it can't be from your IRA and half of it personal.
Oh, I see. It's gotta be the whole thing.
Yeah, you could partner with another IRA,
Oh, okay.
but you can't commingle your,
Personal with the IRA.
yeah, it's gotta be very separate. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So like Lisa has money in her self-directed IRA, I have money in my self-directed IRA. We can buy a piece of property through the IRAs,
Right,
but
interesting.
I can't partner with myself, with my IRA.
Right, with your personal.
Can't commingle the two.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna email you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
How you doing?
No, don't say that. Yeah, so it's a residential property?
Residential property, right on the corner of Schoolhouse Lane and Street Road, right across from Centennial Station.
Oh, yeah.
Guy was
Yeah,
a
it's a good spot.
psychiatrist, psychologist.
So it's got a home office.
Yeah, he bought the ground, built a home in 1988. It's almost 4,000 square feet. 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms.
Wow.
And entrance on Street Road with a parking lot for like 8 cars beside, around the corner, because he's a corner property. It's just.
How long is
crazy,
it?
and he's driving
Any
crazy.
offers? It's too high, I guess, right?
It's 649, and
Oh, thanks.
he would,
Yeah.
negotiate probably
Yeah.
closer to,
What's the feedback? How come it's not? It's
on
a
Street
unique,
Road.
it's a unique user.
It's a very unique.
Yeah, that's the issue.
But you would think with so many people working from home
Right,
still.
a lawyer, a
Yeah, it
dentist,
has a
yeah.
waiting room, it has 2 offices and
Yeah,
its own bathroom.
Beautician, are you marketing it to those types?
I'm marketing as a home office,
Right.
in-law suite,
Is it
there's a lot of
vacant?
multi-generational,
Yes, like a mother-daughter type thing.
Exactly.
Is it vacant?
They just moved out.
They just
yes.
moved out.
And, or you could buy a house and rent that office out for 1,500 easy a month.
Yeah, but
It's an
1500,
R2.
right, but 1,500 a month,
I mean, that's how I've been advertising. it,
right.
And it's just driving me crazy. So I have to actually make a phone call to one family that,
So but what can you rent the house for?
oh, the house? Well, I mean, if you're
It's
renting-
connected, right?
Yeah, it's one. Let me show you a picture. It's,
So you're saying you move into it and then you rent the,
yeah, if you rent it out, like buy the house and rent the property out. You don't need to, if you don't need it,
right, but what can you get in rent?
easy 1,500. Look at
For the whole building?
for just the office.
Right, so then you would rent the house out separately, so you got 2 tenants. Is that what you're saying? If it
Well,
was an
I'm saying
investor.
or if you buy the house and.
Yeah, if you
need
live in
that
the
kind of
house and then,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's where it would be a home run, for somebody to live in the house,
I know.
rent it out for 1,500, that would pay for most of the mortgage.
You mean rent the house?
No.
and-
Move into the house and then rent the building, rent the office out.
Here, okay, so this is the house. I posted it on. Okay, this
Oh,
is
it's pretty,
Schoolhouse
yeah.
Lane. This is Street Road. You have a parking lot right here.
Yeah.
Parking for 8 cars, own entrance.
What did
And
he use it for?
his home office, he was a psychologist.
Psychologist.
He built it, lived there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Raised 2 boys. They went
Yeah.
to Centennial School District.
Yeah.
But they went to private school.
Yeah.
Both boys graduated from Wharton. I mean,
That's great.
so it's just.
You'll sell it. You just gotta.
3 months. I got it July 13th, the day after the first interest rate hike. So at first, he's like, well, what do you think we could sell it for?
Right.
So when we talked, I said, well, I mean, I just sold
Right.
in Holland.
Yes.
It's first day, 77 Uber,
Yeah.
I said, probably close to 8, because it's 4,000 square foot. But
Wow.
after
You'll
that,
get it. You'll get it.
3 more market, frustrating. Talking about it.
Yeah.
Good. How are you, Lisa?
Good. You're talking about the one that you're trying to.
Yeah.